Hey guys, it's Teresa. So today I'm going to be doing another super laid back, low budget video. I've done one once before. Not that I have a budget, but low production quality video because I have an issue that I don't know what I want to read next. I just finished Northern Lights by Philip Pullman and I have the bind up so I could continue reading, but I don't know if I want to because I also have a book buying problem. Can we see that? These books on top of there, I mean, ignore that horrible painting. But these books, I have yet to haul. All of these are yet to be read. The bottom one I've read, but you can't even see that. But basically, I don't know what to read. I have too much to choose from. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to try and do the try a chapter tag. I've picked out 5 books that are pretty much all on different like genres and different topics and everything like that, but all of them I'm really excited to get into, and I'm gonna try and read the first chapter out of all of them, and then I'll decide what I'll actually read. I've never done this before. I don't know if it's gonna annoy me that I've started 5 separate books at the same time, because usually I don't like reading more than one book at one time. It probably will. Anyway, so the very first book I have already shown, and that is, well, it's this book. I've read, as I said, his Northern Lights, and I want to read The Subtle Knife. I keep mixing up the second and the third book title, but yeah, it's The Subtle Knife. I've read like a few, like 10 pages of the first chapter last night. Because I like, literally, like the minute after I finish a book, I like to start a new one just so I am like kind of keeping up the momentum, and I usually don't read much of it. But I've read, oh, not even 10, I've read 5 pages, so that doesn't really count. So I want to finish the first chapter of his Subtle Knife, the Subtle Knife, not his, the Subtle Knife, and then decide if I want to keep reading that. Another option would be Authority by Jeff Vandermeer. This book has been, I've been wanting to continue the series for so long, and I was not aware that the second book was longer than the first, like 3 times as long. But yeah, I don't know how long these chapters are going to be, but I do want to try this one out. I'm definitely going to get to it soon, but might as well try it now. Then I have 2 that are non-fiction that I also really want to get to. The first is Attack of the 50-Foot Blockchain, non-fiction book about the blockchain technology. And then I also have One Child by Mei Fong, which is the story of China's most radical experiment, the one-child policy. And finally I have The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, another book that I've heard like magnificent things about and I really want to check out. So I'm gonna read the first chapter out of all of these. I don't know if I'll do like an update after each, probably that's best. And then I'll pick one to read, and then at the end of the video I'll like keep this footage, and at the end of the video, once I've finished the book, whenever that is, then I will review it and talk about it. Alright, so I had a cup of green tea while I'm still drinking it, because I'm tired, and I finished the first chapter of The Subtle Knife. I really enjoyed it. I really like the new character that's introduced, and I'm looking forward to the dynamic of him and Lyra, or Lyra, I don't know how to pronounce her name. And I almost just want to continue with this one, but that'd be really boring because I literally just read the first one, and this video would be more interesting if I picked another one, but I really like the first chapter. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to read this book. Alright, first chapter finished. I started reading One Child, and I read the prologue and the first chapter, which is altogether about 22 pages. And it took quite a bit longer I thought it would, because it's very dense and it's kind of hard to read. And this is so much more like tragic, I guess, than I had expected. If you can see, I already marked some things that are like important or like news to me, or like momentous things happening, whatever. I had no idea that the one-child policy, I mean, obviously you can kind of guess that it's devastating, or like inhumane, sort of, to force people to only have one child, but for example, the first chapter already talks about the earthquake in Sichuan, and like that an entire generation was like wiped out in one village. And you just don't even think that far, I feel like, most of the time. Anyway, I don't think I'm gonna continue reading this right now because it's just really heavy, and it's definitely not the kind of book that you can just like sit and read in a day. It's very sort of depressing, but also really fascinating. So I'll definitely read this soon, but I feel like maybe I'll just read in like chapters a day, or like one chapter a day, or like in bits and pieces, just so that I can process the information better, and also that I don't like overwhelm myself with so much like information. And now I'm also finished with The Attack of the 50-Foot Blockchain, the first chapter. It literally was like not even 10 pages, so that was very quick to read. I'm not going to continue with this book, I think, either, because it's, again, I feel like I'm not in the mood for reading like a ton of nonfiction right now. And also, I have already so many issues with this book. Like, it's very, I mean, I knew going into this that this was kind of critical of cryptocurrencies, but so far it's really only ever mentioned negatives, and when there was a chance to mention a positive, it didn't. Like, literally omitted a fact because it wouldn't support the author's argument. And I mean, it's not, I can't really talk about it like having read 5 pages or so, but I think I'm gonna have to say a lot to say about this book. We'll see. I mean, I feel like you can make an argument against blockchain technology while still being objective and giving all the facts. So with this book not doing that, I might have problems with it. But anyway, let's move on to book number 4 now. Alright, so I also read the first chapter of The Kind Worth Killing. This is a mystery novel, if you didn't know, about a guy who plans to murder his wife, and he randomly mentions the thought to someone at an airport, like a woman, and I think then she ends up like helping him or something, or like they make a plan together. I don't know more than that, but that's the premise, like that's not a spoiler. And the first chapter went by super quick. I mean, it's 14 pages or 10 pages if you consider it starts on page 3. But this seems like a quick read, and I'm intrigued. I have some ideas, because I heard that there's a plot twist, or it like goes somewhere you didn't think it would go, or whatever. And I have some ideas where it could go, but I don't know. I'm excited. I heard so many great things about this, so this is a contender, definitely. And I finished reading the first chapter of the final book, Authority by Jeff Vandermeer. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but this is the second book in the Southern Reach trilogy, and I've talked about Annihilation, the first book, a bunch on my channel, so I'm not gonna go into that anymore. But good news, I found the book I'm reading. I've already gone way past the first chapter. I'm on page 45. I'm loving it. I'm hooked. I'm addicted. I feel like I'm so vibing with this entire series. I have the same kind of feeling as I had when reading the first book, and I know some people have like issues with this, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It's a pretty quick read. It's like 340 pages, and it's just so addictive, so I can't wait to finish it. Hopefully it's gonna happen tomorrow-ish, and then I'll review it. Okay, so I was just about getting ready to sit down and film a bunch of videos, so I thought this would be a good time to do the review for Authority. I was gonna say Annihilation. Authority by Jeff Vandermeer, which I ended up picking from the chapter tag yesterday. So I started this book yesterday, finished it like a few hours ago, and I don't even know how to talk about this. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you what Annihilation is about first, and then we're gonna get into this. So Annihilation follows 4 female scientists that are unnamed throughout the story, and they're sent on an expedition into Area X, which is this weird place that something is going on in, but no one really knows why. And they're under the command, basically, of the Southern Reach, which is like a government organization that is like trying to figure out what's going on. And it just follows these scientists, or in particular the narrator, who is the biologist, as they discover weird things. Anyway, the second book follows not any of the scientists, but the new director at Southern Reach, so this government organization. And as he just starts his job there and is sort of confronted with a lot of stuff that he's like trying to figure out, and like realizes that Southern Reach also doesn't really know what's going on, and he just like, tries to figure it out. Basically, in that sense, it's kind of like a continuation of the first book, except from the point of view of the organization itself this time. And yeah, if you know, Annihilation is like, I don't know, a third or half as long as this one, and that one went by really quick. I really like the pacing of it, but this was a little bit slow at times. especially towards the ending, like the last 50 pages, I could not get myself through anymore. Maybe because I have been reading it so fast that I was just like, when is it over? Like, let it finish. But really, it was just so slow paced and nothing was happening, and I didn't enjoy reading it either. In general, throughout this entire book, I never really felt like I knew what was going on, which is the point in a sense. But in Annihilation, I had the same feeling, but it felt a little bit more purposeful there. And here I was just like, what is this? Like, what is happening here? And I also really didn't like the main character for several reasons. First, I think he doesn't have like a backbone, which is annoying because there's like an assistant director who basically just like bullies him throughout the entire book, and I was like, why don't you just say something? She's technically you're supposed to be her superior, so like, what's going on here? And then also, he makes weird decisions and like doesn't follow up on like leads and doesn't inquire into mysteries. That was like crazy to me, and I was sitting there reading the book like, why don't you like follow up on this? Why don't you do anything about this that you just like figured out? And it's just like, oh, never mind. I could not stand it. Yeah, I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. I was quite disappointed with it, honestly. Like, in comparison to Annihilation, it's definitely a step down. And I heard that Acceptance, the third book, is also not as good as the first book, and like kind of in sort of the same vein as this one. So I just hope to finally get some answers. We didn't get any answers in this book except for more mysteries, and I'm just so confused. I have ordered Acceptance already, and it should be here very soon. So I'm gonna read it probably next week and hopefully like it better. But so far it was okay, but a little bit of a disappointment. I'm still glad that I read it though, and I'm glad that I did the try a chapter tag because I've never done it before. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So it was a little bit jumbled, especially yesterday when the light went away and I was just like, yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read the Southern Reach trilogy, what your thoughts are on it. I've heard several people say that just like read the first book and then pretend it's a standalone, which I kind of can get behind, but it does, like, you know, nobody really wants to like not know what's going on, so I kind of feel like in that sense you have to read the books to get some answers, hopefully in book 3. I also don't know, so we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, you guys. This is kind of like a weird video just like thrown in the mix, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Come back every Tuesday and Friday for more videos. Click subscribe, like the video, the usual, and I will see you soon. Have a lovely week. Bye!